based in Kansas City. We are here at the Hartford office working on Interstate 84 project. This project replaces approximately 2 miles of congested urban freeway in downtown Hartford. This freeway is very, very difficult and complicated. It runs over an active railroad track and an underground river. And because of that, we need a good way to show to the stakeholders 3D representation of the project. We had RDV model the entire project corridor in 3 dimensions. You can see here behind me is a picture of that model. And we used that to show not only the existing conditions in the no-build, but the various alternatives that we were looking at. We have it so that you can turn the ground transparent, look at the underground utilities. You could switch between all of the different alternatives using the same program and the same model. What you see behind me here is the 3D model. One of the things we're looking to do for this is to put 3D vehicles on the road based on our traffic simulations. We found it to be extremely useful so far in public involvement, as people can actually see what the project is going to look like when it's complete. Compared to traditional 3D models, 123BIM is really a transformative change. With the old style, it was mainly used for marketing. You had 2D renders, sometimes videos, but they weren't interactive. Big change with 123BIM is that you can fly through your model, drive it, walk it as if you were a pedestrian, view the different alternatives, one on top of the other, change them back, look underground. Basically the whole degree of interaction that you just don't get with traditional products. So the reason we chose RDV is because it's a turnkey solution. We provided all the CAD files, the vehicle trajectories, and RDV took care of the rest for us. Also, having a web-based app that people can go to on their phones and look at the simulation was a really big plus for us. So another reason is because of 123BIM Desktop, a program that allows me to navigate through the project in real time, which I've used to show up on big screens and projectors at the public meetings. We started using the RDV simulation very early on, right in preliminary engineering when we were first coming up with our concepts. And we found that helped because we could gradually add more and more detail as the concepts were refined, but we still had something to show the public, a good idea of how things might look based on the decisions we've made so far. We use 123BIM Desktop as well for discussions between engineers. For example, a couple of days ago, there was a question about how far below grade the freeway was from the surrounding roads. And rather than having to load up the CAD file, since I already had the simulation open, I could just go in and take a look at it, and everyone's questions were answered satisfactorily. Another thing we've done with the model is show people potential building impacts. That's been very important for stakeholders who live and work through the corridor. For example, some of the other state agencies have headquarters and offices right next to the freeway. It was also an issue for a power plant that's stationed right next to it. At the last public meeting we had, one of their representatives was there and was very interested to see how the new freeway was going to look from their place. We use 123BIM Desktop to show off the simulations in real time. We also use the 123BIM website to help us collaborate with the project team. We also use 3D Tour, which is embedded on the project website, and it's accessible for mobile phones. We've used the RDV model extensively in public outreach. We've had so far about 24 different public meetings, from open planning studios, stakeholder meetings, and more focused meetings. And in every one of them, we've had the 3D model available. It's really changed the way people look at the project because they're used to seeing it on plans. And viewing it from above as a bunch of lines on a page doesn't help everyone. When people see things on a plan, it's not easy to orient themselves, and if they're not technical professionals, they might not get much out of it. When they're actually driving through a three-dimensional simulation of it, it's a lot easier to pick out landmarks, to tell where they are, to see how things look from certain dimensions. And it sort of takes on a life of its own for them. The project in their minds becomes real and concrete. When we have our meetings, we usually put the 123 BIM visualization front and center because it draws a lot of people in. They come take a look, they're a lot more interested in the project than they would be otherwise. And we've got a lot of hits on the website just coming to look at the 3D model. I've gotten a lot of comments from the public, all positive, talking about how they really appreciate the extra view and the perspective that having the 3D model offers, especially people who live right nearby. If they look at their house on a plan, they still don't have a very good idea of how the project's going to look or how it'll affect them. But once they're able to actually see it from the perspective of their house, right out their window, that's when they know exactly how things are going to go. When someone comes up to the model, as I say, is there a specific part of the project you're interested in? And for a lot of people, that's the first time they realize it's an interactive model. It's not just playing a video, because I'll go straight to that point and they can see it from that perspective. Yep. In 123 BIM Desktop, you can double-click on someone's building right on their window, and it'll take you right to that point, looking at the project. I find people are pretty impressed in general with how quickly you can move to an area. The first time they see it, they get a lot of excitement. I've worked on other projects where public involvement doesn't have any sort of 3D model, and the biggest challenge we find is that people have a hard time understanding what's going on. You get a lot more questions, people asking a lot of redundant questions, in fact, because they just don't get it. When you have the 3D model there, it makes a huge difference for your public involvement. The stakeholders and just the general public get a real good feel for how things work, how they fit together, and it's easy enough just to go to a point and say, here, this is what it's going to be, this is how it looks, this is where this road connects, without having to constantly flip back and forth between a bunch of different plans and try to find what you're looking for. We had some major changes that were to be made to our project model, and they were incorporated very quickly. Having that rapid turnover allows us to model alternatives that we've only just come up with, and having that sort of rapidity and responsiveness has really helped with the public when they suggest a new improvement, and then they can go up and see it the next month. The top 3 benefits that we saw to using RDV. Number 1 is that it's interactive. Having that sort of interactivity is what really draws people in and gets them on your side. Number 2 is that it's accessible. We don't just have the model at public meetings, but people can go home and view it on their computers or show it to their family and friends. And number 3 is that it's cost effective. We were able to get an awful lot done in a short time with the resources that wouldn't have gotten us nearly as far by ourselves. I would definitely recommend RDV to my colleagues, and in fact I already have. Every time someone from another office comes to take a look, even other consultants, they're always very impressed by the model and wonder how they can do it themselves. Okay, we've had nothing but good experiences working with RDV solutions, and we find them extremely useful for our public involvement process. We're going to continue using them through the I84 project and look forward to using them on other projects as well.